And I'd like to start today's program with an invocation by Pastor Ellis McKenzie of New Creation Baptist Church.
Shall we pray? O God, our help in ages past, our hope for years to come. We thank you for this evening. We thank you for this day that you have made. We have gathered together in the great city of Riviera Beach. And when we look back over our lives and see what our eyes have seen today, we pause to say thank you. Thank you for vision and visionaries. We pray for the CRA and their leaders. We pray for this great city of Riviera Beach. We pray for the mayor and his commissioners. We thank you for all those that lead the city that around the world is known for different things, but God, we see that you are moving and moving and moving. And for those of us who know you, we all just pause to say once again, thank you. This evening now we pray, oh God, that you will give us, oh God, ear to ear what the leaders have to say. Again, God, we pray that you will bless everyone that is here this evening. We thank you for the opportunity of seeing some great things that has been planned. And God, we know one thing, that the best is yet to come. So we ask your blessings on everything that shall be done today, this evening. Grant us all a good blessing. And God, thank you for traveling grace and arrival mercies. We ask all these things in the name of our God we pray. The name of Christ. Amen.
I want to thank Pastor Ellis for filling in. Unfortunately, Reverend Adams from Mount Zion Missionary Baptist Church was unable to make it today. Mount Zion Church has been in the city for over 44 years, and they helped the CRA to develop our neighborhood plans by hosting us and contributing to our community outreach and neighborhood workshops. So we just wanted to recognize Reverend Adams. This project includes over 12 acres of construction, which are almost done. More than 40,000 feet of fill was brought in for this project, and the infrastructure is designed to pave the way for the future development to bring jobs and new business opportunities to the city. These lovely pavers underneath your feet, there's 450,000 of them on the project. They provide ample public spaces and plazas that will enhance the waterfront and create a new destination to pave the way for future restaurants, housing, hotels, and the new development of our public market that we've planned. So I would thank you for coming and ask you to pardon our dust today. The Whites team has been working diligently to finish this project, and we're happy to host you for our sneak peek event today in advance of the upcoming elections and final completion to ensure that we celebrate with the recent current city council who made this project become a reality. It's my pleasure to introduce the chair of the city council and CRA commission, Don Pardo. Chair Pardo was elected to the city council in April of 2008 and has spent the last 8 years working tirelessly to promote and enhance revitalization and economic development within Riviera Beach. Chair Pardo also serves as the president of Palm Beach County League of Cities and was recently recognized as the Marine Advocate of the Year by the Marine Industries Association.
Thank you, Scott. Again, I'm Dawn Pardo. I am the chairperson of the Riviera Beach City Council and the Riviera Beach CRA. Welcome, everyone. Thank you all for coming out and joining us today. Today, we make history. I just want to give you a background on how we got here. So for years, there was a lack of consensus on what to do with the Riviera Beach Marina. When several of us came into office 8 or 9 years ago, we decided that the marina was truly a diamond in the rough, and we needed to polish it and take it off of the backs of the taxpayers who were subsidizing it. Many of you here today bought into our vision and became valuable partners. The first step in redeveloping the public marina consisted of the Palm Beach County Commissioners, especially Addie Green, Jeff Coons, Karen Marcus, and Warren Newell, allocating $5 million to assist with basic maintenance projects that were needed at the marina. You know, I can't thank Bob Weissman and Virginia Baker enough because they were always there providing guidance and encouragement to us. Using the $5 million to make repairs did not sit well with me. I had remembered a statement that Warren Buffett had made. Should you find yourself in a chronically leaking boat, energy devoted to changing vessels is likely to be more productive than energy devoted to patching leaks. I knew we needed to leverage the money. We brought on John Sprague to assist us with finding grants to rebuild our public marina. David Roach, Don Coley, and Mark Crosley from Find were believers in the vision, as was DEP and the federal regulatory agencies. We were able to turn $5 million into $17 million and rebuilt all of the docks behind us. We then hired our great CRA leader, Mr. Tony Brown, to assist us with redeveloping the upland properties and the rest of the CRA. We leveraged TIF. We invested almost $30 million in the public infrastructure here in the marina. The community asked for a new event center and a waterfront park. Today, the event center and the waterfront park are a symbol of how far we have come as a community and a taste of what's left to come. We have made the public investment, and soon the private investors will take over. We thank Commissioner Priscilla Taylor, Commissioner Hal Valashe, and the rest of their board with helping us and allocating funds to assist us with the design of our public market, which will be located just west of where you all are sitting today. Our staff and residents should be commended for assisting in this project and everyone staying on track with the vision that we all came up with 8 years ago. Staff and most elected officials in this city have learned through this process that true partners are waiting for an invitation to assist, and many, many businesses, elected officials, and community leaders are cheering us from afar. Today, ladies and gentlemen, the city of Riviera Beach is making history, and you are all here with us. Thank you. I'd like to invite my colleagues up here. We'll do it one at a time for them to make a brief statement, and then we're going to ask them to go over to the fountain and make a wish. We'll start with our mayor, Mayor Thomas Masters.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm limping a little bit. I've been knocking on a lot of doors, and I'm feeling the pain. But no pain, no gain. And today, we are on the gain side. First of all, I want you to give the man that I feel is responsible for the leadership and the direction for that building, and more yet to come. And I often say sometimes, somewhere I read that a man is without honor in his own home, sometimes disrespected, sometimes rejected, sometimes criticized. But one thing you cannot do, you cannot argue with success. Give our executive director of the CRA, Mr. Tony Brown, a big hand. I saw him somewhere. Come on, Mr. Brown, I want you to stand here for a second because it's something I do want to share with you. Also, I want to thank this board for staying the course. Sometimes we may disagree, but we should never be disagreeable. We all bring different ideas and strategies of how to get to where we're trying to get, but the goal is always the same. It's always about progress, what is best for Riviera Beach and the people. But not just this board, only the mayor can do this and get away with it. But we must remember the elected officials that served in the past through their leadership as well that helped to bring us where we are today. And I see two. I see Mr. Shelby Lowe and I see Miss Billy Brooks. Give them a big hand. They served in this too. In my conclusion, let me just say the mayor is really not a member of the CRA board. I don't sit on the board, and so I get an opportunity to see afar off and yet near. But I asked Mr. Brown to come to stand here because I'm going to say something to him, and he'll answer. And that is, because you don't see me at the meetings and because you don't see me at CRA functions does not mean that this mayor has not been actively involved in the CRA projects and doing whatever I have been asked to do by Mr. Brown. Mr. Brown, is that true?
Mr. Mayor, whenever we call on you, you are there. And we appreciate you very much. Thank you, sir.
I'll pay you $1 for saying that after the meeting. Thank you very much. Let's give yourselves a big hand.
Thank you. I'd like to invite Councilman Terrence Davis up.
While he's coming in quickly, I just want to say, some of you may not understand how the mayor has this on, but let me just say, your mayor is not just a mayor, but he's a bishop. And when I come to these activities and functions, I'm here to bless the building as well. Thank you.
Hey, Mr. Mayor.
First of all, I want to say good afternoon to everyone. I'm Councilman Terrence T.D. Davis and the vice chair of this great board in this great city. I just want you to take a minute and just pause for a minute. Despite what's going on in the world today, across this country, it's a very beautiful day in Riviera Beach right now. Yes, it is. This represents the most important part of races. And the most important part of a race is the start. Today, you are celebrating the start of greatness, a start of something special getting ready to happen in Riviera Beach. And I want to thank you all for coming out, thank my colleagues for working well together, and thank this community for believing in those who put their time and efforts in this process. Thank you all for coming out today. Thank you so much.
Okay, Councilman Cedric Thomas.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Okay, that's a lot better. It gives me great pleasure to stand here to see the progress that has happened over the past 9 years. I was sitting there thinking that, it was sort of a somber event for me because I've decided not to run again, but to see this happen is a great accomplishment. I was thinking about all of those individuals who may not get mentioned today, such as, our city attorneys, going over all of the contracts to make this happen, our community development director, Mary McKinney, Pam Ryan, all of those people, all of the assistants, the secretaries, everybody who makes this get to this point. I was thinking about those individuals. But most of all, I was thinking about you all, the residents that believe first in me to keep me on the board for 9 years, but mostly in this city and the team that I work with to start this process and carry it through fruition with Miss Judy Davis, Miss Dawn Pardo, Miss Billy Brooks, Mr. Shelby Lowe, myself. You know, it's a great team in moving this along. I appreciate them. We didn't all the time agree, but through our working, through you allowing us to continue to work at it, we have this, and it's a beautiful building. So I'd like to thank all of the citizens of Riviera Beach, all of our business community that believed in us, that despite some of our trips, we still got this far, and the city will continue on. So thank you very much for allowing me to be here, and thank you for taking part in this event. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Bruce Guyton.
When things go wrong, as they sometimes will, when the road you're trudging seems all uphill, when the funds are low and the debts are high, and you want to smile, but you have to sigh, when care is pressing you down a bit, rest if you must, but don't you quit. Good evening. I lead off with that because we have had a long journey getting to this point, and many of us did not quit. We've had a lot of challenges and obstacles, and I look out and I see a lot of the people that I worked with personally before getting elected to help bring this to fruition. That was a referendum that overturned the ability to have private development here. There were some of us that said that that is a key component to developing an economy. You need the private sector involved. So we got out, we worked hard to do something that was never done in the history of Riviera Beach. We overturned a referendum that prevented private development at this marina, and it was the best thing that ever happened to the city. And I don't like to start calling names, but there are some elected officials that were really on the front line for that. Our chair, Ms. Dawn Pardo, Councilwoman Judy Davis, former Councilwoman Billy Brooks, Councilman Cedric Thomas. We all came together and understood that this meant a lot to the future of our economy. And here we sit now with some results. We have something that you can measure now, progress. Look around us. Other communities are looking at Riviera Beach and asking us, how did you do it? I am proud to be a resident of Riviera Beach. I'm very humbled by the fact that you've allowed me to serve, and I see very big, prosperous things for our city. But we cannot do it without your support, so as this process continues, please monitor it, because we have a lot that we still need to do and a lot of funds that are needed in order to make it happen. Thank you, and thank you for coming today.
Thank you. And please note that Councilwoman Kashamba Miller Anderson is not feeling well, so she will not be here today, but she does send her regards. Moving on, I'd like to read a letter that we received today from Senator Bill Nelson. Dear friends, thank you for inviting me to the opening of the Riviera Beach Village. Although I cannot be with you today, I want to congratulate all of those who helped make this project a reality. I want to commend the city and its leaders for recognizing the importance of economic growth through real estate development and business recruitment, which will focus on job creation for the residents of Riviera Beach. There is still much work to be done to make this whole project a reality, and I am happy to do what I can to lend support. Best wishes for a successful event. Sincerely, Senator Bill Nelson. It's wonderful. Congressman Alcee Hastings could not be with us today. He's in Washington, but Dan Liffman from his office is here, and Dan would like to read a I guess, a letter from Congressman Hastings. Dan, are you okay? I did have my Wheaties this morning, so I might be able to help you out there.
Good afternoon. My name is Dan. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Buenas tardes, bonjour, et bon dia.
Buenos dias.
My name is Dan Liftman. I am a staff assistant to Congressman Alcee Hastings. If you live anywhere in Riviera Beach, Alcee is your congressman. He loves you, and he is so glad to represent you in Washington. Alcee has been supportive of this project from the very first day, and he is so delighted that it is now coming to fruition. Mr. Brown, why don't you join me up here? He sent this beautiful letter to Mr. Tony Brown, Executive Director of Riviera Beach CRA. Dear Mr. Brown, I write to congratulate you and the CRA Board of Commissioners on your ribbon cutting for the Riviera Beach Marina Village. I could not be happier that this wonderful project resides in my congressional district. The $375 million public-private partnership project is a shining example of a community coming together, investing in itself and revitalizing this waterfront to make it a place for everyone to enjoy. Throughout my tenure in Congress, I have always supported legislation and projects that allow communities to reinvest in themselves. These projects create jobs, generate revenue, and infuse a sense of pride to the residents who live there. Projects like Riviera Beach Marina Village are needed throughout Florida, and the success of Marina Village reinforces my drive to bring more projects like this to our community. Once again, congratulations. With warm personal regards, I remain sincerely Alcee L. Hastings, Member of Congress.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you. That's great. Thank you, Dan.
Very quickly, I want to say remarks for two very important persons to us in Congress. You heard a letter from Senator Nelson and this wonderful letter and plaque from Congressman Hastings. What you're going to hear from me shortly is that, but for a program called New Markets Tax Credits, this project would not be up. The program has gone through annual extensions, and each year, both Congressman Hastings and Senator Nelson is right there with Bob Davenport and the New Markets Tax Credit Coalition to make sure that this program continues. The New Markets Tax Credit Program is a tax credit that provides an incentive to get private capital into low-income communities. And so I wanted to say on behalf of the CRA Board and members of Riviera Beach City Council that we thank Senator Nelson and Congressman Hastings, Representative Hastings, for their leadership in Congress to make sure that our communities prosper like our nation. Thank you.
Thank you. We have some elected officials here, and I just want to acknowledge them, and if they would just stand. And we have Charity Lewis from Lois Frankel's office. Is she here? There she is. We have Michelle McGovern from Senator Nelson's office. It's Michelle in the back. Thank you for coming. We have County Commissioner Hal Valashay with us. I saw Hal a little while ago. There she is. We have Port of Palm Beach Commissioner Jean Enright. Jean, welcome. We have West Palm Beach City Commissioner Corey Nearing. Corey, where are you? There he is. Corey, thank you for coming out. We have Vice Mayor of the town of Haverhill, Lawrence Gordon. There you are. Thank you for coming out to our city. And we have Palm Beach County Tax Collector Ann Gannon. Ann, where are you? There she is in the back. Are there any other elected officials that I missed? Hey, we have Port of Palm Beach Commissioner and Chair Wayne Richards. Thank you for coming out, Commissioner. Priscilla Taylor, is Commissioner Taylor here? Commissioner Taylor? She didn't make it? Okay. At this point, I would like to ask former Riviera Beach Councilman Shelby Lowe to come up and get a coin, and please go over to the fountain and make a wish. I'd also like to invite Billy Brooks up to make a wish in the fountain over there. Did Judy Davis, was Judy Davis able to make it? She was not able to make it. Okay. Well, right over there, and please make a wish.
Can I say one thing?
Quickly, yeah, just a minute. Yeah, please. Go right there. Go ahead.
Oh.
Go ahead. Billy, hold on.
Wow.
He's going to say a minute, and then you say
Today kind of feels like a birthday. You know, it's like, it's special. The sun is shining bright, and it's just surreal, you know, just to feel the air and the breeze and just be right here in this place in Riviera Beach. And just to know that this place is a reality. You know, we worked really, really hard back in 2009 and 2010 to make this place a reality. And when everybody else said that we couldn't do it, the city of Riviera Beach stepped in and did it. When the developers sat back and said, hey, we're going to wait for this and wait for that, we said, no, our citizens said we wanted something right now, and this is it. This is it. And thank you. And I thank the council that's in place now for getting us here, because this is a lot of hard work.
It is.
They mentioned the administrative staff that does all of the work, and the engineers and all of those folks to get to this place and we're not done.
Right.
We're not done. You know, I started a public market fair association, and I'm trying to bring amusement to this place, and I'm sure everybody is going to pitch in and try to do their best, but this is a special place. I was looking on Wikipedia earlier this morning, and I picked out 2 things about Riviera Beach today. This is the easternmost municipality in the state of Florida. So the sun rises here first, in my opinion. And one thing I want to encourage is that, you know, we built this place for families, because that's what we need, more families here. We need more families. Our family rate here is 29%, and there's some family rates in other counties at 70%.
Okay.
We need families.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we have former Commissioner Billy Brooks.
I'm going to be very brief. I just want to say that this truly is a day that the Lord has made, and we are rejoicing and being glad in it. And what we see here is the result of good teamwork, your prayers, sticking together in spite of when things were difficult. And so God has blessed us. We have to say we're truly blessed to have what we have here today. So thank you so much for coming out and celebrating this very wonderful event. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Brooks. Thank you for everything. Okay, Mr. Brown, where are you? Okay, it's time for you to take it over, and it's time for me to make my wish.
Okay. As you can see, I've been given council members and former council members coin to make a wish in our fountain over there. And I just want to say, truly, oh, happy day. Now, come on now. I know we got some Baptist folks out here, right? Oh, happy day. Amen. Amen. So I first came to Palm Beach County in 1985. And when I first came to Palm Beach County, it was then that the folks in the city of Riviera Beach felt that this marina would be the catalyst to jumpstart redevelopment in the city. It didn't happen in 1985. It didn't happen in 1995. But what we're here today to say 30 years later that it is happening now, and I want to ask you to help me thank the folks that just spoke for helping make this happen. So with a round of applause, please. And also with a round of applause, I don't know, those of you who were here when we had the old tiki and before we tore it all down, just by a sign of hands, who was here at least over the past 2 years ago, just by a sign of hands. If you like what you see, please applaud. Great. Now, I'm going to ask, I got a lot of thank yous, so I'm going to stick to my notes so I can be efficient. In addition to the leadership that was just recognized, the elected leadership, there were members on the CRA Charette Steering Committee that in 2008 envisioned what this marina would look like. And there were about 12 members of that committee. I'm going to ask someone to bring up the poster board, please. But I'm going to ask, of the 12 members that were part of the CRA Charette Steering Committee, thank you, Ms. Cole. We have 3 that are still active. It was back in 2010, 2011, Chair Pardo asked if I would put together a committee that would help heal this community and bring the community together as we were divided over whether or not this marina should be a working waterfront or if we should enhance access, public access to the marina. In the end, our community spoke and enhancing public access to the marina. But of the 12 people that were active, that I asked to serve on the Executive Director Advisory Committee, there are 3 people that are still active today since 2008. And I'm going to ask them to come forward, be recognized. I'm going to give them coin to also make a wish. But they're the ones who made sure that I stayed focused. They told me that the community wanted a 2-story Newcomb Hall, so you got a 2-story event center. They're the ones who told me that the community wanted the event center to be an anchor to Bicentennial Park. It's an anchor to Bicentennial Park, and they also told me that this marina needed to jumpstart and provide economic development opportunities for its residents. And you're going to hear shortly from Scott and others that we did just that this board made sure that our construction manager and its team ensured that local businesses participated and that local residents were employed. So I'm going to ask Ed Canuti, Marianne Wiegand, and Elizabeth Robinson to please just come forward. I'm going to give you the board, and then I'll give you some money here and just ask you to just make a wish. And I want to thank you for your leadership. Thank you, Ed. Is Marianne? Okay, so I tell you how involved they still are. So Ed is the chairman of the Planning and Zoning. Marianne Wiegand to my right, your left, she chairs the Executive Director Advisory Committee. And then Elizabeth Robinson, she is the chair of the Riviera Beach Community Development Corporation. Back in 2012, it was Cedric Thomas who felt that the CRA's focus in the waterfront also had to extend in the neighborhoods, and he asked us to form a community development corporation, and we have a number of members that are part of the CDC. I'm just going to ask you to raise your hands because we're very active in the neighborhood development. Jeff, I see you over there. Raise your hand. Okay, there we go. So we have all the members in the CDC. So I'm going to give you money here. I'm going to actually take the board, and if you would, please make a wish. There you go. All right, thank you very much. There's another gentleman I want to recognize who believed very strongly in Riviera Beach. I mean, he believed in Riviera Beach so much that he put skin in the game. And I'm talking about serious skin. And the individual I'm going to recognize is Robert Healy of Viking Developers. In 2011, I was called to New Jersey to meet what his people affectionately called the old man. And what I came away with is that the old man is it's a firecracker. I'm telling you. What you see is the citizens had this vision of what this marina could be. But Mr. Healy put pen to paper and hired some of the best designers in the country, not only in the country, in the world. He brought in Live, Work, Learn, and Play. I was asked to come to New Jersey as he pitched Live, Work, Learn, and Play. And there's one thing that I remember that Live, Work, Learn, and Play told Viking. And Viking, if most of the folks in the community know that Viking owns a big chunk of Riviera Beach. They own many of the parcels that you see along the Broadway corridor. And what Live, Work, Learn, and Play told Viking, and they're headquartered in Montreal, Canada, they said, Mr. Healy, if the city of Riviera Beach gets the waterfront redevelopment wrong, if we don't do it right, your property is worthless. Your property is worthless. That was the energy for Mr. Healy to not only hire Live, Work, Learn, and Play to do the strategic assessment, then he went to Boston and hired Elkis Manfredi to put together the conceptual master development plan that became our blueprint for what you see today. So I'm going to ask Mr. Healy to come forward. I have some coin for you. And you all are probably asking, what do the balloons represent? So I'm going to explain what my balloons mean. But to Mr. Healy, how about a round of applause for Mr. Healy and Viking Developers? for you, sir. Did you want to say anything, or you?
Man, oh man. Hey, for $30 million in Riviera Beach, I just got about 80 cents. But let me tell you this about a
And
vision.
50 cents in dimes.
Let me tell you this about a vision. Here at Riviera Beach, we have the waterfront, and many years ago, my brother and I came down, and we came in Palm Beach Inlet, and in 15 minutes, we went to the Old Sprague Marina and built our service center there. This property on the waterfront is one of the outstanding properties today in all of South Florida. It is important that it be development. We went to Boston, got the top architects. We see the vision, and we thank you. And Tony Brown has been someone that's implementing that division along with your board. Thank you very much.
So, Mr. Hilder, before you leave, so each balloon behind me, my staff was a little upset at me. They wanted to keep them inside, but each balloon behind me represents a $1 million investment. Viking's investment in our city has exceeded $1 million. According to their figure, they've purchased over $30 million worth of land. But the one thing that I do know, that in hiring Live, Work, Learn, and Play, and in hiring Elkis Manfredi, they spent nearly $1 million in soft costs to make sure that this vision had a nice roadmap. And so this balloon, Mr. Hildy, represents that $1 million. And if you would wish us good luck, thank you.
I just got to watch it doesn't fly away. Thank you.
That would be called inflation. I'm going to ask two people to come forward. Carrie O'Donnell, who is with the O'Donnell Agency and our public relations firm, to explain this whole desire around Marina Village. And then Ms. Bram, I'm going to ask you to come with your lovely hat. Ms. Mary Bram, I want you to come forward, please, with your lovely hat, because as Carrie O'Donnell explained the vision that went around Marina Village, you said something very impassionate about whom we call lovingly Stringfella. And so I want you to, if you would, I'm putting you on the spot, if you could interpret what you interpreted to council after Ms. O'Donnell made her presentation. So if you come forward too, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. So how do you like this logo? Riviera Beach, Marina Village. What good branding can do for a destination is to build anticipation for a great sense of place and to build anticipation for the sense of fun, the experience that you're going to have when you get to the marina. I think that this logo truly accomplishes it. You see the fluidity of the design, fluidity because water is the dominating element here. You have, as we call him, Stringfellow. He's made of rope. Again, the working waterfront is represented. And he's doing, and many people see him doing many different things. Some see a windsurfer. Everyone seems to see a fisherman. They see a sailboat. And yes, the sun does rise first on Riviera Beach, and the yellow and gold elements represent the sunrise as well. So it's a great fun logo that builds anticipation for your experience here. The logo font draws back to the Bahamian roots of this city. That was very important in our intake sessions with the community. They truly wanted the Bahamian roots and the history of Riviera Beach represented in what needs to be a contemporary logo. And I have to say, you know, chapeau, as the French say, I can't believe that with more than 100 people inputting on this logo, the almost unanimous consensus was the most courageous, bravest, most memorable and artistic version that we almost didn't even show. Because when you have 100 people each inputting, usually logos get kind of dulled down into something that everybody thinks is just fine. But this one is very bold and brave and memorable and courageous. So thank you to both elected officials and the citizens of Riviera Beach who had an input on this. And thank you to Antonio Barciella, one of our stars at O'Donnell Agency. Where are you, Antonio? There he is, who designed it. He did a great job. We were supposed to deliver 5 logos. He delivered 30, and we took it from there. So I hope you love it. And with that, Mary, go ahead and say a few words.
Good evening. With the wind blowing through our hair and the sun shining on our back, welcome here today. I complimented on this logo. I am a resident here of Riviera Beach, and I have so many plans, and I've attended so many workshops. Paperwork is galore at my home. I stand here today glad to see something is being built on this magnificent foundation here in Riviera Beach. The logo. I made a comment at the City Hall, and I said that it was so unique because live, work, and play, it symbolizes exactly that. I said the string. He can be the string man to some. He can be the young at heart, the shoestring man riding on this wave. And the little kids can identify the spaghetti man because they love spaghettis. And when I made the comment, I got so many calls about it. And they say, what are you talking about? I say, when you come to the Marina and you see him flying high, picture yourself there doing exactly what the string man, the shoestring man, and the spaghetti man wants everyone to do. This is a family-oriented marina, and we are glad. I am glad as a resident because, as I have said, this is something for the old as well as the young at heart. And we take great pride here in the city of Riviera Beach because we will continue to grow. The concept of it takes a village to raise the children, it also takes a village that should be built on the foundation. So I give accolades here today to the CRA director, Mr. Tony Brown. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. We had Commissioner Taylor who arrived. You were thanked. The county was thanked, and your colleague. I saw Mr. Hal Valichet here, but Commissioner Taylor, would you like to say a few words? The county has been a great partner, and I'll let Commissioner Taylor tell you what they've done for us.
Well, thank you, and what a great day in Riviera Beach. I tell you, when I talked to Tony, I guess it's been probably, what, 2 years? 2 years, and we were talking about the money that the county had, and I told him, I says, well, you know that when we have money, if you don't use it, usually there's a project that's really waiting for that money. So it was almost gone, and I told him, I says, well, I probably can hang on to it just a little bit longer, but I'm one of these people that likes to see things done. So he promised me that he was going to do this, and I can tell you, Tony, you did a beautiful job, and I am just so excited for the city of Riviera Beach. You deserve a hand. Thank you. And as you know, whatever the county can do to work with you and the city, we are definitely there for you. So thank you again, and congratulations on a beautiful building.
I truly thank the accolades I'm getting, but there is one partner in this city that without her support, we wouldn't have been able to make the advancements that we've made, and that's Ruth Jones, our city manager. So I'm gonna ask you to give her a round of applause, please. In 2010, I came up with this crazy idea that we could leverage the CRA and go out and borrow $26 million. And those of you in the financial services field, you probably realize that in 2010, we had the Great Recession. Banks were not lending, particularly they weren't lending for real estate, and let alone for a CRA. So I went to my colleague at the city and I said, well, Ms. Jones, I've done a calculation, and I think that the CRA, if you allowed us to play with the money we owe the city, the $10 million that we owe the city, I think I could go out and borrow about $26 million. So Ms. Jones, you know, she hemmed and hawed a little bit, and she finally said, well, as long as the city doesn't have to guarantee it, we don't have to budget and appropriate for it, and you don't ruin our capacity, then I'll support it. And I scratched my head. I was like, oh, my God. Because if you know, lending to redevelopment agencies, we go away eventually. And because we go away, most lenders want to make sure that local government will budget and appropriate money in the event that we don't pay our debt. So I said, well, okay, I'll take that challenge. not knowing what would happen. And I'm going to tell you the result of that challenge in a moment. But then we went out and we borrowed the money, and I'm going to recognize BB&T Bank shortly because of them, and you see their balloons, they did lend us $26 million during those tough times. How about applause? That's fine. So I want to thank Ms. Jones for trusting me then and now, because then in 2014, she further demonstrated her confidence and said, you know what, Tony, the board going to probably let the water side, we're going to take that to a third party. How about you managing the uplands part, the ground part of the marina? And we'll give you guys a 50-year lease, arm's length transaction, market rate, $1.2 million. And I thought, okay, I think I could do that because I had done my projections, and we all knew that, I think there's some members in the audience from FP&L, we all knew that FP&L's investment in this city, as was reported by the Palm Beach Post, allowed Riviera Beach to have the single largest increase in tax assessed value. Our tax base went up by over 30-something%. And so I said, okay, I could take on that challenge. I think we can manage it. We don't have the money to absorb it. Well, there was one miscalculation, that the money that I thought I was going to get the county's money, I thought I was going to get the city's money. Well, I didn't realize that that CRAs, we only get real estate. So no one told me at FP&L they were going to put the bulk of that value into plant and equipment. So CRAs don't get the plant and equipment. The city does. So when the tax letters came out and I just saw that my tax base only went up $1 million and the city of Riviera Beach went up like 33%, I thought something was wrong, so I got on the phone. But long story short, our board was pleased because the city received the money. And by it going to the city, it meant that they could do great things and more things with it. And so knowing that in 2015 that the money I thought we were going to get went to the city, then I said, okay, Ms. Jones, why don't I just give you back the marina? So she said, no, I don't think so. And so in this budget year, she said what we will do and what we're working together with staff to do is to make sure that the programs that was created on the CRA side, like our ambassador program, the mere fact that because of the charter delay and the other things that private development is lagging, that there's a tremendous amount of common area maintenance expense that the city is offering to make sure that the CAM expense is being subsidized until we get private development. So a great deal of credit goes to my colleague, my counterpart at the city, Ruth Jones, and will you please give her a big hand? Would you like to say anything? Oh, I got you.
Thank you, Tony, for it truly has been a partnership. I don't care where we are and what we do. We cannot do anything alone. And I depend on Tony, and Tony depends on me. And one thing, like everyone else, I told him, just so you deliver, I will continue to support you, and he has delivered. We are so grateful for this day, Tony. I'm so thankful that you are a part of my team, and I say my team because we're all in this together. A lot of people try to divide the CRA and the city, but as long as I'm here and as long as Tony Brown is here, there will not be a division between the city and the CRA. Amen. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I think my staff going to give you 10 balloons representing that $10 million you let me defer for what now look like it's going to be about 30 years. I think my bankers appreciate that. I was told there are some other people that arrived that I should recognize. We want to thank Beth Kegel, President of Northern Palm Beach County Chamber of Commerce. Beth, if you raise your hand. I think we also have former council members. I understand Sylvia Blue is here. I don't know if Ann Alves is here, but we want to thank other former Riviera Beach council members. I think I've done my housekeeping. So now you've probably been wondering, well, who are these other faces up here? You know, because with great leadership, wonderful community vision, nothing happens without the money, right? So I explained to you what the environment was like in 2010, and as a government entity, we have to put out a request for proposals. So we put out a request for proposals to 20 banks. And some of you know that I'm a former banker, so I got on the phone, I was dialing for dollars. I'm saying, look, we got this RFP out. Please, please, please respond. We had one response. One response. and that was BB&T Bank. And I would like for you all to give BB&T Bank a hand, and I'm going to ask them to bring their balloons up. And I'm going to recognize Evan Wyatt, who is the Palm Beach County president. They have invested $26 million in this city, and but for that investment, none of this would happen. And so when no one else would, they did. And for that, I want to say thank you.
Well, thank you, Tony. Good afternoon. What a great event to be a part of this afternoon. I just want to personally thank and welcome everyone for coming. As Tony mentioned, we're very grateful for the relationship we have with the CRA and the City of Riviera Beach. We know that both the Riviera Beach and Riviera Beach Community Redevelopment Agency do a lot of good work. I just want to recognize Tony Brown and his staff at the CRA for their continued efforts at guiding the city's redevelopment needs that help create additional jobs, help improve the quality of life for many city residents here in Riviera Beach. Lastly, I'd be remiss if I did not thank some of the BB&T employees who are here to support us day in, day out. I'd like to give a big thank you to Tari Bolden, who is our market leader here at the BB&T Riviera Beach office, who owns this community. Many of you know her. She does a wonderful job, but I'd also like to thank Dale Colley for his support, Nancy Campbell, Janice Carlin, and just thank you for your commitment to our community. Really appreciate it. And we may have a lot of balloons, but all the work that was done to get this building to where it is deserves all the recognition today. And thank you, Tony, for all your hard work and time.
Okay, so I told you the people had a vision for a two-story event center, Newcomb Hall. With BB&T's money, we set aside $5 million, but then we went through the design process. And when you have architects and engineers designing a building, nothing stays within budget, right? So the $5 million budget soon ballooned to $9 million. The event center that you see is a $9 million investment and is the anchor to this marina. But with that $9 million, we were $2 million short. And so once again, I called on friends in the industry, and the National Development Council heeded the call. The National Development Council is one of our nation's leading community development financial institutions, community development corporations. They have been around since 1969. Their primary mission is to increase the flow of capital in underserved urban and rural areas for job creation and community development. As I mentioned, when Ms. Pardo read Senator Nelson's letter, and when he indicated that he might introduce legislation to make sure new markets tax credits was allocated at the state level as opposed to it being a national competition, it was Bob and other members of the New Markets Tax Credit Coalition who stepped up and ensured that Florida was recognized as one of 10 states that had been underserved. But Bob and his organization did not stop there. Bob put out a call for any projects in Florida. His team called me and I said, yes, we have an event center and I'm $2 million short. Now, those of you in commercial real estate know how valuable these tax credits are. So if you get them awarded, you need to close this thing in short order. So he said, Tony, we got $7 million, will that help? I said, ooh, that will close my $2 million gap. So he said, but Tony, we need you to close by December of 2013. So I leaned over to Scott. I said, Scott, can we close by December 2013? Scott leaned over to the folks at Gilbane who were representatives and said, Gilbane, can we close by December of 2013? Gilbane called White's joint venture and said, guys, can you get this thing, if we close, can you get this thing built in 12 months? So they said yes. So I'm telling you that story because December 2013 came and we did not close. So now we were holding up NDC's, National Development Council's application. And they could have said, I'm sorry, you lose your place in line, we have to go somewhere else. They did not. They stuck there with us, and then we closed. First I said June, when we were on the roof, I got corrected. We closed in July of 2013. Now the regulations say that when you close a new markets tax credit transaction and you're doing construction, the job must be completed in 12 months. So that meant that in July of 2014, we were supposed to have been finished in July of 2015. Well, I've since learned that Jim Wells with White's never trusts the date that he gives you. So We didn't close, but again, they stuck with us. And one of the reasons why you can see, and we appreciate their commitment to us, because this was a tremendous undertaking. There was $12 million invested on these pavers, invested underground, bringing in dirt to raise the elevation. And so I like to call Bob Davenport, and then I'm going to introduce their primary investor in the fund, KeyBank. But first, Bob Davenport of the National Development Council. Please give him a $7 million round of applause.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you and congratulations to everyone. The whole community turnout is really spectacular. I think it says a lot about the community action involved in this. And we all know what a daunting project this is, it was. And 9 long years or more, 30 I guess, is when the initial idea was dreamed up. And but now it's finally a reality, and the beautiful facilities, the open spaces, the economic opportunity and the jobs are starting to come, and it's only the beginning, because there's $300 million that this will stimulate in the form of private investment. And for a variety of reasons, because of all of the competing interests, you all know how difficult, how daunting this project was to pull together. And Tony pulled together a first-class team. Now, what he didn't mention to you, he said that NDC is one of the leading national community development financial institutions. What he didn't tell you, and we think we are, but what Tony didn't tell you was that when I first met Tony, which was more than 20 years ago, we were trying to be certified as a community development financial institution, and Tony was up in Washington running the CDFI fund, and he turned us down. He said, no. And that started what I consider to be a beautiful relationship. And I've spent the next 20 years getting even. Most recently, we got even by saying, yes, Tony, we'll bring tax credits to this building and to this project, because we all know it would have been much, much easier not to do this project. But that's not Tony Brown, and that's not the community of Riviera Beach. And while we're reflecting on the beautiful building and the progress that's being made, I would also like to recognize just that Tony Brown is known nationally, not just in Riviera Beach, but he's known and he's respected as a man of integrity and a man that will get things done. And when this project wasn't going forward, the Bulldog brought it forward. So I just think that Tony's done a fantastic job. So we're proud to be part of this. I think that the community, the people of Riviera Beach should be proud of this. And I think the community and the people of Riviera Beach are very fortunate to have Tony Brown, head of the RDA. Thank you.
I know you all came here to go through the event center, so we want to speak this up. But like any strong community development entity, you can't do it without a strong financial partner. And KeyBank has been that to countless of community development entities across the country, and even more particularly with NDC. KeyBank has invested over $100 million in New Markets tax credits throughout the United States, and we're so honored that they've chosen to put their money in our city. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce Kyle from KeyBank to say a few words. Please, thank you.
Thank you. Myself, my colleague Jennifer Siemens are here representing Key. We're based out of Cleveland, Ohio. It was 26 degrees when I flew down this morning, so anytime Mr. Brown would like to have us down, I'll fly right down, no problem. We started looking at the numbers and the concept of this in about the spring of 2013 with intent of closing in winter of 2013. And from a financing perspective, it was one of those things where it worked and then it didn't work and then it worked, but we weren't sure. And then we got to the legal perspective and things of that. And I think when you're here today celebrating this, you really have to recognize Tony and his persistence in working through all that when there were some seriously trying times. And we weren't really sure, that we were going to get to the finish line. But the one consistent piece was Tony at the end of the day saying, whatever we need to do, we're going to get it done. And I think everyone here has made that clear that that's his priority. at Key and our community development group, we really pride ourselves on being able to provide financing for communities and facilities in communities that are going to help the community come together and grow and have everyone involved. And it's obviously apparent here today that this facility is the start of that. So on behalf of Key and our staff, we want to thank National Development Council, the community here today, and of course Mr. Brown and the Riviera Beach CRA team for allowing us to be a part of this, and just want to say congratulations on the step in the right direction.
So all the ones who were recognized, we're going to ask you to come forward and follow Ms. Hatcher. We're going to get ready. We called it a ribbon cutting, but if you've ever worked with Carrie O'Donnell, nothing is traditional. So she put together a rope with buoys. And as you know, when we were having our what we call it, our groundbreaking, instead of having a shovel, we popped champagne. So Scott going to come give a few facts while the board, former council members who were on the council in 2010 give recognition. And so we're going to line up. We're going to cut the rope. And as we're doing that, Scott, if you would come back, please, and give thanks to our design team and close the program while we set up so that folks can go in and get a tour of the event center.
1, 2, 3. Bravo, bravo. It's officially almost open.
So this size has capacity for like 100 and well, it says 91, and then we can split it in half. Okay?
So the whole room is 191?
The whole room is 191, 91.
Right, so you can split it right
91,
there.
okay.
Wow, so that is,
This is the event hall. This is your Newcomb Hall redone. And so this has a capacity of 318, and it can also be divided in half for 2 functions. It has the state-of-the-art equipment. You have screens that come down from the ceiling for presentation. There's a service elevator through those doors for a function up on the 2nd floor. We have a concession stand so you can serve outdoor concerts in the area to my left. We call that the Grove. We can bring in food trucks for an outdoor concert.
Where's the stage?
We can bring a stage in right under the white poles. So again, for functionality, we decided not to have an amphitheater per se, because during the day what you can do, families can come out and they can sit, where the concrete will be like a bench. And then on the other side of that lift vehicle is going to be an interactive water fountain. So family with kids, grandkids can come, they can hang out at the park, you got the shade, and then the kids can just kind of run through the fountain with music, and how the fountain will go up and down and be displayed. And then all the, we call the water sports, will have kiosks. If you jet ski, paddleboard, kayak, those vendors will be here. The Riviera Beach community got a preview of things to come. We have previewed the event center, also known as Newcomb Hall. This $9 million investment is a testament to the belief that we wanted to create a facility that our community would enjoy, that it would be an anchor in this marina development. Our community also had a chance to see the improvements that were made at Bicentennial Park, over $6 million in renovating the park. So now that we've done the public investments, we're going to turn our attention to getting restaurants and shops and other things as part of the 2nd phase of the marina development. So we're celebrating 30 years of history in the making.